the patience for this crap. Here I am trying to get this thing started. I don't know whether I'm going to have the patience for it today. I think it's on. I see that there's motion on the phone screen at all. I can't see if there's people here or not people here. So, I'm not feeling well today. Okay, there we go. That might work for that thing. Oh, there are people here. But I'm going to leave you just for a second and run back inside and come back out. Because I don't even have like a coffee cup in my hand or anything. I'm not feeling my best today, people. Hang on one sec. Okay. No big deal. You go stay outside. Stay outside. Mama's gonna try to talk to the camera today. You know how Mommy does that? Oh, hi people. Good morning. I do not have a really good subject for today. I've been thinking about it. Not feeling really well. So maybe we'll do more of an update and we'll talk about health a little bit. Since I don't feel good, that makes more sense to me than anything. That subject may not be great for everybody that's here, but since we're doing what we're doing, you get to pick and choose whether you stay or not. Yes, what I decided to do, since I didn't feel outside fire today, it's only, I don't know, I think it's in the 40s. I don't think it's that, whoa, don't put your knife there, that gets too hot. I think it's in the 40s. So, so what's going on with me for one thing, and what's the catch up, right? For the week. Wow, that's really cold. I made cold brew coffee again. I haven't done that in a long time, and I didn't warm it up. Good morning, good morning. I see messages, but I can't read the names yet. So I have a doctor's appointment coming up this week. I'm glad that it's coming up and that it's at the timing that it is right now. And I apologize, I'm not looking right at the camera, but you all who are here and who follow me more or less know that I just try to be myself. And if I was trying to be a television, a video personality, well, I guess I am trying to do that too. But if I was trying to do it more and I had money and stuff, I would probably try to make it more professional or something. But honestly, I didn't start this way. Um, I'm just myself. I don't belong to an ex-husband or my birth family. The birth family made it real clear to me they weren't interested in me being part of the family. So, you don't stay where you're not wanted. Or I don't. It doesn't make much sense to stay where you're not wanted. I am messing around with the fire and I'm about to cut an onion and put in this hot fry pan because you have to do these things when they happen. If you're going to cook outside on a fire and the fire's ready and the oil's hot in the pan, you don't waste it. I don't waste it because I can't afford to. So I have for a while, well, oh, how far back do I have to go to tell this? Off and on my whole life, I have had times in my life when I would have weird things happen. Like I trip over my own feet. Or my family didn't have cars, they had vans. I stepped out of the van, I think I was in 7th grade. I don't know if I was in 7th grade or 8th grade, but I was at the junior high in South Berwick, Maine. And I don't know why, but Mom was taking me to school for something. I don't know what for. And I went to step out of the van. Like, I'm in the front seat, and I got one foot on the sidewalk. And I stepped the second foot down, and I tore all the ligaments in my ankle. And I was on crutches for, I don't even remember, it felt like 6 months. I don't know how long for real, but, it felt like it was 6 months of being on crutches. I've always had these odd things happen and get sick for, I was going to say get sick for no reason, right? Sometimes there were reasons, or you get hurt or something. But when my children were young, I would get so overwhelmed. Usually in the spring, I would sleep. And I would sleep and only get up to go to the bathroom and go right back to bed. And I could do that for 4 weeks or more. I mean, long periods of times. What is wrong with her? Why doesn't she get up? Why isn't she doing what she's supposed to do or whatever? I would trip over my own feet. I never could sit cross-legged. What in my childhood, it used to be okay to use this term. It's probably not okay anymore. I'm going to use it just to describe this. But when I was young, they used to call it sitting, cross-legged or Indian style on the floor. And I never could do that. It hurt my legs. And there was never any, nobody spent any time trying to figure out if there was anything wrong with me because with 6 kids in a poor family, I was the least of the problems. So we never knew what was wrong. The last big event that I cooked and helped out at was the boondocking bash in Ehrenberg in 2019. Right after, and I do mean right after, Thanksgiving that year, I got sick. And somebody, a day later, somebody, I know who, but I won't use the name, but I still think that it was so not okay. This person told everybody I was fine and there was nothing wrong with me. I was not fine. Um, I was sick until, let's see, I was sick the better part of 2 months. By the time I was able to drive myself to Yuma, I was in Yuma one night and I was so sick and I couldn't function. I ended up in the hospital and they kept me for 5 nights in the hospital in Yuma. And it started off, we all, me included, started off wondering if I had had a stroke. I didn't have a stroke, but we wondered because we couldn't figure out what was going on with me. It was odd. They did so many tests. I didn't leave Yuma that year until March 3rd, 2020. And of course, most all of us now know that March 3rd, 2020 was the real beginning of the pandemic crap that is now part of our lives. And so when I left Yuma, March 3rd of 2020, I left with a diagnosis of suspected S. I had more tests, I had spinal taps, I had all kinds of pokes and prods and tests. Oh, good Lord. That was a very challenging time, and I was alone for most of it. For part of it, Candy and Rick were around. They have a schoolie. I haven't heard from them in a long, long time. I tried to keep up with them, but I'm not sure why, you know. Sometimes with people and keeping up with people, I have a tendency to make effort, and if I don't get a response back, or if the other person never makes an effort back, then I drop it and let it go, because I think that the person is not interested, and I wouldn't want to bother somebody. You know, like I said, why be somewhere where you're not wanted? Why remind somebody you're alive if they don't want to, if they don't care? You know, they might have other bigger things going on, but they haven't contacted me. So, anyways, so that's that little kind of short thing. So since so I have to watch my stress levels. I have to watch what I eat. I'm allergic to everything in the world. It's so annoying. Lately, I've been wanting pizza so bad, but I haven't had the energy to even come up with a good idea of how I can do that. I could eat a cauliflower crust. I could make one. I know how to cook. I'm not, you know, I know how to make pizza out of a campfire like nobody's business. I was known for that and coffee down in Costa Rica. But so health. I do everything I can to try to take care of myself and to not need doctors because, well, one, doctors don't know everything. When I was young, I grew up in the Worldwide Church of God, and, well, that was my family's choice of church and religion. They were in the Advent Christian church prior to that, but my whole life, I remember them listening to Herbert W. Armstrong on the radio. And so I grew up with those thought patterns. And I still do a lot of things kind of that way. So we were taught that you went to God for the answers, okay? But we were also taught that you also go, if you need help with something, you get help with it. We were not encouraged to go to doctors per se. So um, I didn't, my kind of being, I hate to say it this way, if any family member gets a hold of these videos, they might argue what I've said. Because their experience could be different from mine. But in my experience, now I would use the term I was a little neglected. Um, not in a, not quite the way that sounds though, but neglected in the manner that um, there were so many kids, they just didn't have time to figure out if something was wrong. It was just, oh, Lisa's going to be sick again. Oh, so, you know. Um, and it wasn't, I don't mean that in a bad way. It was just matter of fact, that's the way life was. So I learned to, go to my Bible young because it was what I was hearing all the time. And so I would go to the Bible and hunt for answers on your health and on the way to eat. And it said things like, God gave us all the plants and trees and herbs and things of that nature to help us stay healthy. And, over time, over years of growing up that way, I learned about herbal teas and how they, the ladies at church, herbal teas and how they helped different things and how you could hurt yourself with them if you weren't careful. But I learned about these things, and that's how I kind of managed my health when I was younger, because it was my responsibility to take care of myself. It really wasn't anybody else's responsibility. Yeah, maybe in an American culture kind of way, you'd think it was the parents' responsibility. But, in my family, I remember the comments being made, there's, you have food and you have a roof over your head. I've done my responsibility. So, some people thought that way, and sometimes it was a joke, and, whatever. I'm not meaning these things in some harmful way. I don't need them to be misunderstood, but by the time I was leaving home and having my own kids, I wanted to get a certificate for natural health care. And I've forgotten now what the term was at that time. There was a correspondence course, and cousins and some of those people, and we're all involved in getting some of these. It wasn't naturopath, because that was the medical side of it. But anyways, I wanted to do that because it was how I was staying okay. How I was fairly healthy was because I had learned how to do these natural things, and you eat a certain way, and hey, if I don't eat that thing, I don't get sick anymore. So I'm going to stop eating that thing. And it's how I've carried myself all my life. All right. So I still tend to do that. I do have a lot of food allergies and whatever else. My good friend Brian Leonard, when we met, the first thing he said to me was, "You've got an autoimmune, and I know which one you have." He said, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he might be right. Anyways, It has been since March 3rd, 2020. And I finally have an appointment to see a neurology MS specialist. Hopefully, this doctor will now help me find out if I actually have MS. By the way, MS is not something that you catch. Normally they find it when you're young, and you're born with it if you have it. So, um, I don't know. I don't know. All I can say is we'll see what happens from that. But I'm a little bit encouraged to maybe have somebody help me, somebody who knows something about what I've been going through, and the fact that I think this past week at least, I've had 3 or 4 days of just my muscles are weird, and I'm tired, and some of us wake up at that 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning thing thinking. I know other people who do that. I do it all the time. I've done it for years. And we're very creative sometimes in those moments. Why did I start that piece of the conversation? But I woke up one morning, actually this morning, because I've just not been feeling good for days. I didn't even go to farmer's market yesterday for my social fix. Because I usually just go, it's Sabbath, so I usually just go and hang out and visit with my neighbors when I'm here. I'm anxious to find out what flavor of autoimmune problem I actually have. I woke up this morning realizing that there's going to be a day when I'm going to have help and I can't be alone. I'm not at that stage yet, but boy, is it more on my mind because I've had, 2 or 3 days when I've just been clumsy. And there's been a couple of times when my face twitched in a weird way. It was like the muscles were doing things on their own. I walked 3 miles. Yeah, I had a nice walk around. But during the walk, there were maybe 3 times when I had to stop. And just because my left leg, which is the one that was paralyzed, that side of my body is the one that gets affected the most. I just had to stop and hold my leg for a little while, wait a minute for the muscles to calm down so I could finish walking. And if I'm going to have that as my normal when I go for a walk, how am I going to be able to be alone down the road? Okay, so I'm reaching for wood for the fire. Yeah, this does touch on some other issues, like, end of life. Who do I leave my property to? What do I do with this? How do I set it up so that I've set it up so that somebody could live here, survive here well. Yeah, you could grow food. Even in an apocalypse, we could maneuver this. But who do I leave this to? My children are on the East Coast. They were raised by their father, who did not like me. Go figure, right? Of course he didn't like me. That's why he's next. But they have such a very different lifestyle, and they're East Coast people, and I don't know them well, and we don't have super good contact. Do I leave this to them? Don't anybody, please, don't send me a note saying, leave it to Hawa. No. Hawa and I do not agree on what should be done with we don't agree on a lot of things. We don't agree on how to help people. We don't agree on how to and I love Hala, but I just don't want that. So um so how do you maneuver these things? Sometimes we just have to, suck it up, keep it simple, and keep moving. But there is going to come a time when I'm going to have to, think about this. When I see the doctor this week, I will be, running through all of these concerns with the doctor, hoping to find out more about my autoimmune and whatever's going on with that. And hopefully they'll be able to help me manage the symptoms better. But I have been really feeling the weak muscles and things like that. Now I am going to touch at the camera. So I'm going to bring this up where I can see it. And I'm going to try to read these comments so I can comment back on what y'all have been saying. Let's see if it will let me bring them down. I may have to go get a pair of glasses so I can read them. I see a bunch of stuff. Okay, there's some good mornings. Sometimes the best family is not blood. I agree with that. Oh my goodness, my family was in the Worldwide Church of God. Who was that? I don't see I can't read the name. I'll have to go look later. Oh, glad you caught the live too, whoever. Like I said, I can't read the names this morning. Sometimes my eyes get affected by whatever's going on with me too. So I'll put that. People have no idea not having a diagnosis. It's so horrible on mental health, and it makes the physical worse. Yes. I agree with that, and I want to talk about the mental health too, because I don't think my mental health issues are any worse than most of the people I know. It's just I got diagnosed. You have to always remember it would be worse, harsh and hard. Yeah. You can tell from my channel name I have arthritis. Yeah, RA. Yes, and I can't even imagine how that feels. Who is in the Worldwide Church of God? I came in late, and brothers were in that church. I was raised in the Worldwide Church of God. Worldwide Church of God does not exist any longer. It fell apart after Herbert W. Armstrong died, and it is still, the beliefs are out there in kind of a different way. I'm leaving my homestead to the dog rescue, and I'm leaving my van to Hala to be given to someone. That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind leaving him a vehicle, but I'm not leaving him my place. Is that the person has to have owned a pet? Okay. My family, You found your groove. Do your cooking over the fire. I am, and I am actually. It smells really good, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, I should be outside. I mean, I should run inside and get some more ingredients so that when we're finished with our little chat, I could actually eat. All I put in this right now is I'm using a cast iron pan. I do not love using cast iron fry pan. So if it stays up, the next time it goes off, I think I'm going to end this live since I can't signal. And, but that's why I choose some of the things I do. Staying away from people helps me manage interactions, helps me to manage my my stress levels, which seem to be really super important. I have quite an interest in and knowledge of medicinal plants and foraging. I have done a lot of that. I use herbal teas. Spices are medicine. Back in the day in the village, the the older women knew what herbs and spices if that they could add to the food, and it was medicine, and they would make that food for the younger people, and we've lost a lot of their knowledge, and I think it's important to get those things back. And so when you cook over natural fire and you cook in more natural pots, man, I wish I was cooking in clay. I'm not. I'd like to make some clay pots. I always thought pottery would be good. I forgot about that. Um, I was thinking through, will I ever do international travel again? I was thinking through that this week, and I don't know. Um, because of the pandemic things, it's changed our world so much. I might not, but there are some places I would love to go to Nova Scotia, and I would love to perhaps go to places like Ireland and England. Always wanted to go to Norway, have no reason why. I don't know why, but it's always been in my mind. And um, and there's so much of the United States that I've never seen. I would like to see more of my own country. I wouldn't mind going to Alaska. I wouldn't mind going to Alaska and fishing for a salmon. That would, Daddy was going to do that when he made his first million. He didn't make a million, and he died first. He didn't go. Um, but that might be cool. um, I, who knows what the future's going to bring. Um, but as far as health goes and things of that nature, I did get interested the other day on YouTube. I was hunting for if I was going to do some more travel and I was going to actually have a diagnosis of MS. How could I still be adventurous? How could I have some adventure and not get hurt? And I found all of this information on years ago because of a back problem. I was told I could never ride a bicycle again. And so I haven't ridden a bicycle in years. I found recumbent bike touring, and they make fat tire recumbent bikes that are e-bikes. Oh, that got me all excited. I was like, you could ride them on dirt roads. I was like, oh, to have one of those, they're very expensive. But maybe that form of being able to do some other traveling, or to be able to take one with me, even if I have to travel with someone so that I'm safe. I don't know how this is all going to pan out and look. I'll feel different after I've talked to a more knowledgeable doctor, I'm sure. Um, I'm not expecting that this doctor will cure me. If I have some kind of autoimmune for real, which I do, um, I, I'm not going to get cured. It's a condition. It will be the way my life is for the rest of my life. It'll just be learning how to manage it better. And I've done well to figure out how to manage it the way I have. So, I know that. I know I've done well with all of that. So um, I'm careful with my food. Yes, I needed to go to the grocery store during the week. I did not go because I didn't feel good. Oh, and we had another snowstorm. And I was like, well, with the roads being maybe wonky and me not feeling super good, I'm just going to wait until after I see the doctor and then I'll go out. Or I thought about it this morning. I might go this afternoon, but I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I just feel ick. And this ick could be called depression. Yeah. Um, my mental health issues are not horrible. I do have PTSD. I used to jump when somebody would not like something I said, or get mad at me, or yeah, I used to jump. I used to flinch. I used to, you know, be afraid I was going to get hurt. I've had some abuse in my background, and so I did used to do that, and I do have PTSD, but it doesn't come up that much anymore in my very managed everyday life. Um, of course, when I get back out around a lot of people, that's when it's scary again because I can't I can't determine what other people are going to do, and so um, if they're acting badly or something, I can't separate. Well, I can separate, but it's hard for me to separate if it's my fault or their fault because I was blamed for a lot of things. I didn't even know what I was being blamed for sometimes. Um, and